How's tricks?
I'm just putting everybody on the spot. You know how it is. Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's really good. Sharon's going to be here any minute. That guy.
Wait till Saturday.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh look, the captain's arrived. Like, hey, how you doing?
Right outside the elevator door.
State your name, please. Irving Westmoreland Room.
I love you. I love your work. I love everything about you. I totally. Here at 5 o'clock when they open. I just have to. Oh wow. Did I? Well. Have a good night. Cement our That's terrible.
Long last.
Yeah, I have this wall and there's some labels up. But
Oh, hey, Mr. McCormick. How are you?
That's buddy. It's a good one. Love it. Love it. I remember that. For the ladies. Is Julie going to be here tonight? Good. Nice. We got some people from out of town. No, sorry.
Say hello to Rick Ryle, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rick Ryle.
It's a pleasure to be here at this show about the 80s, a little into the 90s. I might have played here once, maybe. Or maybe we almost played here and left. That might be my closest connection. But that's still a connection.
Yeah, we've all had our close run-ins with Glory. The Glory Chasers.
right here.
Hello. All right, I'm going to make the close around. Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. Nice to see you.
Oh, I feel like I... Oh, there she is. All right, I better switch around. good time I had. Hello. Hello, everyone. All looking so good.
The second time.
Hi there.
One, two, three. You're okay.
Hey! Oh, hey, what's going on, Edgar?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
Step inside.
What? First, we're going to do our bit, our intro bit. Yeah, I'm Susan Martin. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Susan Martin, and I'm glad to be here.
No, you're not Susan Martin.
What?
You're not Susan Martin. You're Kostas Nakas.
Oh, why do I have to be Kostas?
For no damn reason at all, Kostas.
Is that on?
I don't know. For no reason at all.
Okay.
Enough of this. Let's go.
All right, so here we go, folks. We're going to do a series of readings from the book, and we promise not to go on too long, I hope. Step inside.
This is chapter 1.
All day, night, you worked your shit New York job at the office, bookstore, messenger service, restaurant, nightclub. Maybe you quit. You can find another job. Maybe you were high, drunk last night. You still have more than $80 to make it till the rent is due in 3 weeks. Your body aches. You spent one of your dollars for mushroom barley soup and buttered challah bread at Kiev for your 6 p.m. lunch. You worked on your band, comic book, monologue, design, play, film, painting, poems, graffiti, flyer, all afternoon. Your boy girlfriend is somewhere else. Night has come. Your senses are sharp. You know what's out there. Soon you're dressed and heading east. Straighter friends said you were crazy to live east of 2nd Avenue. Do you want to get shot? CBGB's is so over, and you're not that comfortable at Club 57. You don't wear all black anymore. You can wear what's fun, something masculine, feminine. A trash can lid crashes down the block as you cross 1st Avenue. The only other soul on the avenue is the plastic-capped bum rifling through the garbage. You scoffed when they said it was dangerous over here, but you're walking fast anyway. You turn a corner onto 7th Street, heading toward Avenue A. The spires of the Polish church rise to the full moon. The 6'2" black drag queen half a block ahead struts on unafraid. She taunts back at hassling teens. More garbage can lids crash ahead, but she carries on. The Ukrainian and Puerto Rican youths fix their gaze on you. All the storefronts are empty. Some still have Yiddish writing or faded pictures from a vanished world. While you were dreaming, you forgot your fear. You are almost at Avenue A. Leszko's coffee shop, with its Polish and Ukrainian home cooking, is still open on the corner. You turn right and walk to the dead-looking bar at 101 Avenue A. The door opens.
You hear your name announced loudly over a microphone. Applause erupts from the crowd at the long bar stretched out before you. Even the boys dancing on the bar are clapping. You look down the bar and see that it was Tanya Ransom, a.k.a. Michael Norman, who has announced your name. She is holding their trademark Cape Cod high in a toast to you. Here, you are a star. This is your Pyramid Cocktail Lounge. When the door opens again, the next patron is announced. The whole place erupts again, but you don't mind. Let him be as famous as you. Let's all be famous together. Gay and straight, black, white, and brown, artists and art lovers. This is why you came to New York. We have found our place, the Pyramid. Where is Bobby? Downstairs, says Sister, his boyfriend. You head down the steps to visit the manager. The stairwell still smells like the smoke and spilled beer of most of the 20th century. The basement is more finished than before when an ancient Manhattan creek ran across the dirt floor. You cross the dark room, past the drug dealers and the drag queens, toward Bobby's office. It's a closet-sized cubicle hastily nailed together out of plywood. You knock. Just a minute, Bobby Bradley, a boyish, brown-haired 23-year-old, opens the door, a few flakes of white powder still stuck under his nose. I was just going to call you, he says. You step into his cubicle and sit cramped in the tiny area with its makeshift desk. Above you is a big paper planning calendar. Penciled into each square is a night's worth of programming. Bands, plays, solo performances, variety acts. Bobby asks you if you want to do something, and you say yes. He lays several healthy-sized lines of Coke before your hungry eyes, and you snort. He asks you the name of your piece, and you make something up. Your mind races. You and Bobby are talking fast, and neither of you is listening much, but together you invent your show. Tonight, you will leave this place with a booking, a New York success. Good, you think. If enough people come, and they will, you can make next month's rent just in time. Bobby is laying out another line as the door knocks. Just a minute. You hastily snort up the powder as Bobby opens the door. An eager face peers in. I was just going to call you, Bobby. Bobby lets the next artist bohemian into his office. You go out. Soon the newcomer will have her booking too. You bound back up the stairs to the main floor. By the bar, you light a cigarette. The club looks more beautiful than ever, with its instant decor of foam core and tinsel, and its beautiful bar dancing boys dressed as girls, and maybe even a girl. It's going to be quite a night. And here is Susan Martin, our illustrious co-author. Should I say it from the press release?
No. Yeah. Before Brian passed away, he insisted that the press releases that we wrote together be a part of the book. So they were sent to the press, but they were really aimed at all of us, and they made fun of everything, we made fun of everything, including ourselves. So I'm gonna just read one. This is still too far away. Okay. This is press release number 9, December 1983. It's called The Spirit of Christmas as Revealed Through the Divine Grace of the Pyramid Cocktail Lounge. December 14th, in many lands and in many languages, the people of the earth will celebrate the birth of the Pyramid Cocktail Lounge. Ranking with that other notorious birth, commemorated later in a month full of a week of partying at the club, the appearance of the pyramid has become synonymous throughout the world with the highest aspirations of mankind,
for the post-1984 age. And it was written, 3 wise men came unto the Lower East Side, following the gleaming red light of an NYPD car. And lo, there was a club. And in that club there was a spirit like no other. And from the spirit came forth a couple of commandments. Thou shalt mock everything. And thou shalt get down. And they did. And the rest is history. In this troubled world, in this age of cults and false prophets, in a maniacal nosedive towards nuclear mania, the world never needed the pyramid more.
That was Susan Martin, and yeah, wait till you read those press releases she wrote. They're just crazy, incredibly good. So next we have one from way out west, Jody Kurilla, and from way back east, Julie Hair, who had a lot of music, wonderful music that they booked and things they did at the Pyramid. So here they are, ladies.
Good evening. We want to represent the cis woman quotient of the Pyramid Cocktail Lounge, which there was a very large quotient. And Jody is responsible for a lot of the music, as am I, bringing bands, booking bands. And here we go. Jody Kurilla, a DJ, and Deb Parker booked a night called Mod Teepee on Thursdays that was more rock-oriented.
Where am I? I worked with Brian and Sister booking shows and DJ'd. Eventually, I took over most of the music bookings. The first events I did were with Deb Parker. Where's Deb Parker?
Deb Parker!
And it was called Mod Teepee. And it was mostly garage and psychedelic bands, often variations of the Flesh Tones, the Love Delegation, of course, anything Wendy Wild put together. Occasionally, we booked alternative country and singer-songwriters. I DJ'd those nights, that's how I got paid. And Deb would MC. She was a fabulous MC. Deb is such an incredibly smart, funny, and likable woman. It was a joy to work with her. It was a joy to work with you, too.
Thank you.
We usually had 3 bands of some kind of performance. Sometimes we'd book films in the basement, or maybe poetry or a multimedia thing. Deb produced several AIDS benefits at the Pyramid, and I would DJ.
Jody and I decided to collaborate on a night called Tuesday Night Fever. I took the graphics from the movie poster of John Travolta and the disco ball and put a skull on his head and changed the text. I combined these with graphics for the upcoming bands. I have a portfolio of these large format posters from pretty much all the shows that we booked, and some of them are around the corner. Jody had connections at labels like Homestead and Caroline, so she booked bands that would be coming through town like Cowles, Mudhoney, Nirvana, and Tad. When Nirvana played, they were not known, and I stupidly didn't bother to take a break from working the door to go watch them. I booked the local acts like Boss Hog, Cop Shoot Cop, Live Skull, Prong, and Pussy Galore. Underdog, Unsane, and Surgery played their debut shows at Tuesday Night Fever. I was doing a lot of graphics for the Pyramid. I made 18 by 24 posters every week and paid to have them posted around. I got my typeset at East Village Eye. I made quarter-page cards to put on the table for upcoming events, as well as 11 by 14 calendars with everything the Pyramid had to offer. It was a mishmash collage of press type and images from popular culture. Brian hired me to make the logo for the Pyramid, which the Pyramid Cocktail Lounge, the Queen of Clubs. The logo was a pyramid made out of bricks with one missing. In that space was a rat.
Julie Hair and I then started Tuesday Night Fever. The music was loud, smart, and exciting, as it was the start of the alt-rock world, for lack of a better title. The format was the same as Thursdays, 3 bands, and often art shows and readings in the basement lounge. I booked 2 Nirvana shows at the Pyramid. David Crocker was our MC. Does everybody remember David? and Tuesday nights, and there's a video on YouTube of Nirvana's first show, and David is introducing them. He was just so funny. Some of these bands were a tad serious. Coming to the Pyramid, you couldn't be too serious, because, honey, we had seen it all. And David would light up the atmosphere in his witty way. Mudhoney played their first show at the Pyramid, and they were shocked at how much money they made in our tiny little club. Julie made these amazing Tuesday Night Fever posters. They were featured on Saturday Night Live's opening segment when they showed New York City life for a few years. I kept most of the flyers and posters for our shows, and Julie has all the original posters. I also had a lot of the invitations that we did from the Pyramid. There were bigger bands that would come through, like a lot of the English industrial and Wax Trax bands. They were big enough to book on the weekends. ESG was always on the weekend as they packed the place. I booked most of Sub Pop bands from Seattle, indie labels out of Chicago like Wax Trax and Touch and Go, Minneapolis Twin Tone, and Amphetamine Reptile, and several California labels like Slash, Frontier, and SST. Genesis Peorage and Psychic TV did several shows at the Pyramid. I booked White Zombie as well. Genesis insisted on their own doorman because they didn't trust that we would pay them correctly. He had this really young kid sitting there with a clicker, but the kid was so distracted, and who wouldn't be, that it didn't really matter because I always paid everyone and I was honest to a fault. I remember Flaming Lips had these airplane landing strip lights that they pointed out at the audience and nearly blinded everybody. Red Hot Chili Peppers, their first show was at the Pyramid, and I remember that night well because they were down in the dressing room and they took the drag queens' boas and other accessories and put them on and got on the stage. The queens were just screaming, "That fucking band took my boa!" And once I had these fave Patrick Cox shoes, and I have big feet, and I know then they were taken. And I know that it was a drag queen that took them because, I mean, big feet. The shoes were fabulous.
Shout out to Richard Barone. Sometimes straight kids would also dance on the bar if they had a look that was as outrageous. Straight women went there to dance and not be bothered. It was very eye-opening to see all kinds of performers and patrons from extremely different scenes under one roof and being entertained by each other. The Pyramid on weekend nights always included drag queens dancing on the bar, skinheads working security, and everything else in between. Rabies Barbieri from the band Warzone and Jimmy Gestapo from Murphy's Law worked security with me.
I love the security guys at the Pyramid. Zach, a jewelry maker and biker who went out with Deb Parker, was our doorman on Thursdays. He made the most incredible jewelry. There was something so unique and beautiful about having Kitty sitting at the door along with these hardcore kids, Jimmy Gestapo, Ray and Sean, to name a few. And then there was Bernard and Lewis, always the gentlemen and impeccably dressed. And the fabulous English Paul Foster, Michael Rios. Is Michael Rios here? Oh, okay. Throw that in. That's what I loved about the Pyramid. Hardcore kids running around, drag queens dancing in the bar, a punk rock playing in the back, and DJs playing disco music. The mix of people is something that definitely I don't see happening as much anymore. Pyramid was also my favorite club to DJ at because I could play such a variety of music and people got it and had fun. The tech staff guys, because these are the unsung heroes of the Pyramid: Craig Overbay, whose brother was Philip, who tended bar, Dana Southern, Blackie Pagano, Chris Clemens, and I know I'm forgetting several others as well. Sorry. They were there at afternoon sound check and all through the night. They kept that place running with limited resources and mostly with their incredible skills. They had their own lounge office, well-deserved, because they worked long hours and put up with lots of egos.
That's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie Hair, Jody Kurilla. And last but not least, the immortal words of our dear fallen Brian Butterick, as interpreted by the inimitable Eileen Dover. Eileen.
These are some big shoes to fill, I'll tell you that. So, I will do my best, but I will never be as good as Hattie. We miss you, girl. Love you. So, when I first started doing drag, he came up and, this is on meeting John Kelly for the first time. When I first started doing drag, he came up and said, "You can wear red, green, blue, orange, and yellow, but never wear black." Once we had booked a performance by Leo Ford, a porn star. The highlight of his act was him jerking off on stage. On the night he performed, Leo was side stage fluffing himself. Madam Larry V, in full Catherine the Great attire, complete with crown, came off the stage while passing Leo, hawked a big wad of spit right on the head of Leo's erect penis to help him lubricate. Later, he started to look really bad. I never really wanted to ask, "What's wrong? How's your health?" The next thing I knew, we were at Jackie's 60. Looking great, knocking him back, and staying there from 10 till almost 6 in the morning. When I first walked in there, the Pyramid staff had a very specific nerdy look. Sport shirts and thick nerd glasses. A blinded by science look. John Tucker, Stuart Cox, and Mark Oates all had that look for a while. Sister Dimension did too. Although even then, Sister was more advanced. I came in with a mohawk, along with staffer Philip Meany. Philip, who was great buddies with the guys from San Francisco punk band Flipper, introduced the mohawk, plus kilt or dress. That became a rampant fashion thing for a while. And then came waves of trans folks and drag performers from the West Village, like Alexis Delago and Larry Ree. The Pyramid was a rejection of the gay ghetto disco club scene of the late 70s, and a place where gays and straights, men and women, freaks and the few remaining Ukrainian customers all mingled, danced, and had a good time. It was Bobby, really, who saw it as a performance space from day one. He loved putting on a show, and even when money was tight, he insisted on live entertainment. It was said that Bobby's family was somehow connected to a hotel chain. Maybe that's why he had such a feel for hospitality.
Bobby!
Too many fat people! My work scheduled at the Mud Club had been reduced to 2 days a week. The Mud Club was in decline, in the way of all clubs. In order to live, I got very creative with the door intake at the Mud Club on the weekends. I managed to survive on 2 and sometimes 1 night a week, but in those days it wasn't so hard living off $100. Meanwhile, I'd been dropping in at the Pyramid. My band, 3 Teens Kill 4, even played there. Meanwhile, but in the afternoon, there was some old woman bartender and ancient men drinking shots. I was doing a lot of drugs while working as a doorman at the Mud Club. It's 10 degrees outside in the winter with no heat lamp. I'm standing all night long, and Steve Moss had a camera and a phone on the inside of the door, so if you moved, "Where's Brian?" Or, "You're letting in too many fat people." So I would do tons of dope to go to work. Being the laggard I am, it took a few months until I got fed up enough with the Mud Club and Steve Moss's insane antics. Finally, I called Steve Moss and told him I was going on vacation. I went away to clean up for the first time. When I came back, I walked into the Pyramid and said, "I need a job." I started working security at the Pyramid. I never did call Steve Moss again. Let's see. Drag performance has a long history in New York. The Julian Attenge Theater was right across from our three-penny opera rehearsal studio on 42nd Street. Eltinge was a drag performer of the late 1800s who made so much money that he opened his own place. He would sell seats in a small, medium, and large sizes and price them accordingly. Although he was a female impersonator, he also had to reassert his masculinity, so he would constantly goad men into fighting with him in bars. He would parade buxom beauties of the era on his arm. In other words, he was straight. There were a few of those in the 60s, too. My drag persona, Hattie Hathaway, was a distillation of every great eccentric I've ever known. Pyramid was the trumpet blast of the sexual revolution that closed out the 20th century. I think that's a great place to stop. But I just want to give it up for Hattie Hathaway. We miss you, girl.
Thank you, Eileen. Eileen Dover, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much for being here. We hope you like the book. You know, Hattie was the one who insisted that the book be an oral history, even when people told contradictory stories, but that the spirit of the pyramid was that inclusive spirit of whatever you come and do, give it your all, and that's everything. And that's why we loved it. So we had to tell this story. It couldn't have happened without Susan Martin, and it's been a long time coming. We've been working on it since '06, and so it's gone through a lot of permutations, so I hope you'll enjoy it. And thanks again, everybody, and have a great time. Thanks.